Good morning, everyone, and we are mimosing outside because we have something special, and it's our 1-year anniversary. Almost there, and we're going to change it up this month. Leslie is off; she's in Georgia. She's in Georgia for tournaments with her babies, and so we decided this month to let's talk about what we do because it is our birthday month. So we're having some mimosas out in here. I did a little teal because teal is for friendship.
Yep.
So we're going to celebrate that way, but we're going to also bring it back, let's call it old school.
Okay.
But it's kind of some for some people, new school. And we're going to talk about real estate, realities of real estate. And of course, our screen is a realtor.
I am.
She is the CEO and founder of Military Home Base. Yep. And so today we're going to basically kick it off, but we're going to want questions so that we can continue this dialogue because we want to kind of continue this going on. Let's talk about, real estate.
Yeah.
And, we have Jason talk about loan information because you should not be talking about stuff that you do not know about. So today we're doing with the specialist. So, right?
I would agree. There's a lot of, I wouldn't go so far as, there's misinformation out there, but there's premature information that's being released without knowing all the ramifications or implementation of how things are going to happen. So it's important that not to be the first one to announce. It's important to announce the right thing.
Exactly.
And accuracy is key, especially when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So, purchasing a home is usually the biggest investment you'll ever make, ever, or a buyer, any buyer makes. So we definitely want to make sure the information is accurate as opposed to first release.
And being so excited at something, and and I think it's so important to educate.
Yes,
right. And yesterday I've been gone for 2 weeks. I took 2 weeks off to mentally and physically reset and come back.
Yep.
And this was something I talked about and said, no, you really need to do this because I'm always learning. This is not my first job or my first career. And so I'm always learning. And again, like I said, you should never say anything like, hey, I know this, when in reality you're not supposed to legally. I cannot give you any information out there about loans. I cannot talk about that. I can only refer you to a preferred person who is a VA specialist.
Yes.
Why is that important? So that's what we're going to kind of talk about today. What is those first steps? Because that's what we're seeing. This is PCS season. Some people have already kind of done a big push and decided to buy homes. We're still in that midst of buying.
We are, and a lot of people, a lot of potential buyers are actually renters at first. They show up at the duty station, want to get to know the area before they purchase. So those PCSing this year may not actually be buying this year, may not intend to buy this year. They may want to settle in and get a feel for the neighborhood and the location. Like, do they mow the lawns when you're trying to do lives?
Which they normally do not mow lawns on Fridays. Because I live in an HO community, but this is live. This is what happens. I'm sorry. I don't even think they're doing it. It's not in my house.
No.
They cut grass here on Monday.
It's the community.
It's the actual outside community, which is very big. So it's funny this came here. But between this company, what's the difference between that company? Why should I do this? What is the interest rate? How does that work? But before you can really do any of that, what is the first thing that they should ask?
The first thing you should do is kind of educate yourself on the process. So you kind of know when you step in what you're getting into. And the reality is 0% down VA loan does not mean you have no expenses associated with your purchase. You do need to have some savings. And that's not even me stepping into the mortgage provider's role to tell you that. Any realtor should tell you you are going to have upfront expenses, and those expenses will vary based on location and based on the type of home you purchase. So it's important to understand it is going to cost you money to buy a house. How much it costs will depend on the location of the house. And connecting with military home base, you actually end up connecting with a fantastic lender,
Mhm.
a fantastic realtor I personally vet all of my realtors. And the reason I do that is because I have a certain level of service that I deliver to my customers. And you can check out my reviews. My customers are very happy with the level of service they receive. I have that same expectation of my real estate partners that I do business with. And quite frankly, some of them get annoyed because I ask a lot of questions.
Yep.
And
But you should ask those questions. That's what
You
you're trying to
should.
say.
You
You
should.
should be the one asking those questions. Because anyone can say that they are a VA specialist. I can say I'm a great person at this, but that's not reality. What should be those questions, Alex?
Okay.
To find out where
you want
should
to
they
know.
look?
You want to know how many VA loans they've done. How many VA buyers have they worked with? Not sellers, because it doesn't really matter what loan product is associated with the seller at that point. But how many VA buyers have they worked with in the last 12 months?
And is there a process, like, okay, again, I could say I've had 15 homes.
You can say that. You can also ask to see their statistics. It's not going to tell you what the loan type is. But for example, I and my team have closed over 150 VA buyers in the since I started in 2011. And obviously we work with other buyers and sellers as well, but VA is our niche. You can also tell if they're going to charge you a transaction fee. They're not supposed to charge you that. The VA does not allow for you to pay any portion of commission as a VA buyer. So that's something you need to know. They should understand some of the basic guidelines. They should understand how a VA appraisal works and what that appraiser is looking for. This information is not hidden, but
It's not always given either. So
it's not, but it's gained through experience. So a VA appraiser is looking for the 4 S's: safety, structure, sanitation, and security. If the house doesn't have those 4 S's, it's not passing a VA appraisal. So you as a VA buyer probably shouldn't even be looking at it. If the MLS says that it needs a new roof, if it's shot, it's really hard to get a VA appraiser to say it's okay. Now, at that point, it's your decision as a VA buyer if you want to go ahead and give it a shot. But know that at that point, you will have spent money on your inspections. You will have put down earnest deposit most likely, and you will have paid, in most cases, for your appraisal.
And so, correct me on this, because yesterday we had, like I said, just came back from 2 weeks, and so I feel a little lost a little bit.
Yeah.
But yesterday we had a really great meeting. Some things that we're going to talk about, some things that have been posted.
Yes.
And we were reading over it, got lawyers involved in reading over it. Because some
Yes.
things you've had very tricky in the way they explain it, and we want to make sure that we're on the up and up and really correct. But one of the things that Jason had mentioned was that VA does not mean that they're giving you money.
Right. So you as a VA buyer cannot take cash out of a transaction. You are capped to what you've put into it, meaning you're capped at however much your earnest deposit was. And specifically what Holly's referring to is this new VA rule that was just signed into law last Tuesday.
It makes your head kind of
It does make
It looks
it
really
We
good.
tried to read the
Yeah.
bill because usually I like to read through that. I've read the VA lender handbook several times. But this law is written in legalese, and we could not get clarification from any VA underwriters. We could not get any clarification from the VA Regional Loan Center because it's so new. They haven't figured out the back end implementation.
And that's not happening right this moment.
No.
So that was the reason why this came up, is we had a couple of people saying that this, I saw this on Facebook,
Right.
and it says that I can get this. Yes, but you've got to go in and read. That doesn't not start until 2020.
January 2020, if it actually starts at all. They
Mhm.
have to figure out the financial side. And one of the things we talked about is the VA guarantee, whether that's actually going to change. Because if it doesn't change, that means the lender is going to have to assume the risk of anything over the whatever the cap is in your area. So we're not going to go too far down that rabbit
No,
hole because there's
because-
quite frankly not enough
Well, that, and it
information.
goes back to the loan officer.
It does.
And
it really
that should be
addressed
a,
loan officer.
by a VA loan officer.
Yeah.
And I know that all of them are scrambling and trying to get up because this is it's
It
been
was
everywhere.
unexpected the
Yeah,
way that
mhm.
it went
And it's
through.
been everywhere. So that was addressed to us. So any of our viewers that have reached out, and
Stay tuned.
we're responding back to you because I was on vacation. That's why we're doing this live, is to kind of say, hold on, it's not happening really to 2020. It's not having nothing to do with you right now. maybe if you're doing a new build, because that's 2020, but that's a maybe. It's not
Maybe, and whether you'll be allowed to if you're already under contract. Like, there's a lot of moving parts to this.
These are the questions they're asking.
Implementation
So
hasn't been really addressed in the bill.
and we can't be educated on it because we're trying to read, and we did have lawyers.
Yeah.
We did talk to lawyers.
It was complex.
Yeah,
So as far as interviewing a realtor, so one of the benefits of military home base is I actually interview the realtor for you. But if you wanted to interview the realtor on your own, you definitely want to ask if they're full-time or part-time. It's up to you whether you want to work with somebody who's full-time or part-time, but it's good for you to know up front whether they're full-time or part-time. And why is that important? Well, if you have a part-time realtor and you're expecting full-time service,
You're not going to get it.
you're not going to get it just because they don't have the time to give it to you. And if it's disclosed up front, if you ask it up front, at least you know what to expect. You know when they're available to answer your calls. You know when they're available to go show you properties. So it really all depends on you. You want to ask about the number of transactions. I think I already said that.
Yeah.
You want to find out how many VA loans they've done. You want to find out how many transactions total they've closed in the last year. You want to find out if they're on a team. And I have a team. Teams are fantastic, but make sure you know which team member you're actually going to be working with and who's going to have their hands on your transaction. A lot of us have admins. I have an admin. Trish is
Amazing.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would be lost without her.
She'll be giving me training next week.
Yeah.
Yep.
She is our in-house guru, but my customers never actually hear from
And
her.
Holly's not a computer guru at all. I'm so lost. We're going to drink all that. Like, really? Just
she
God
does.
bless Trish. I couldn't even help my daughter yesterday. She had to help her at the meeting. Like, just out the door. So lost.
But my customers know about Trish because they know she follows up on all my transaction paperwork. But I also let them know they will never speak to Trish, see Trish, or any of that. So it's very, very rare that her name actually enters into any emails or anything. But it's good for my customers to know that I have another pair of hands available because they do know that I'm busy. I work with more than one customer at a time. They know that somebody's always available to take care of their needs, to write a deed.
And saying that we had, what, over 10 in the past, 2 weeks?
Oh,
We
yeah.
just did this yesterday.
We did.
We had over
We've
10, yeah.
been
And that's
busy.
being on vacation.
It's PCS season, so we've been busy. But we certainly have the capacity to deal with it because we plan ahead. But it's important for you guys to know if you're working with a team or an individual agent and what support system they have in place for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Iris.
You're welcome.
So, if you have a question, we have a few things that we want to talk about coming up.
Yes.
We will go back to doing that on Tuesdays. The reason why we're doing today, I know it's an off day, so a lot of you are going to probably text me going, I thought you did this on Tuesdays. I do this on Tuesdays. Leslie is gone, so we had to rechange kind of our month. She's very busy with her babies. They're all very athletic and sportsy. She's such a great mom. And we wanted to go back and talk about some things with real estate. I've gotten bombarded with a lot of questions, and of course I was on vacation trying to answer things, and ours is blown up. And like she said, she's out busy, so trying to keep up with that. We figured this would be the best. I had a little epiphany. I was like, "Ooh, how do we do this? This will work out a whole lot
She actually
better."
called me while she was on vacation.
Yeah, and
and was
said,
like, we have to do this.
let's do this when I get back, but let's start talking about it today. Let's pump it up. And then Tuesday, we will go forth with
So
it.
some of the topics we will be covering is new construction. I do sell a lot of new construction.
That's
Why do you need a
big
realtor
question.
for new construction? You know, it's new construction. What can go wrong? What can go right? So we're going to talk about that. I've also seen something that kind of makes me laugh, kind of makes me hurt, kind of makes me a little, and that is I see a lot that buyers and sellers assume our commission is a gift.
Yeah.
Or treat our commission as a gift. We're going to break down what a real estate commission actually, what happens to that money, because 9 times out of 10, that realtor is not getting that full commission. Whatever it is, this was
my question, because somebody had asked me, and I'm like, I see a lot of stuff I see a lot of things on this side now because I'm on the flip side of everything. So you see different breakdowns.
So that's one of the things we're going to cover. We're going to cover pre-approvals versus pre-qualifications and the power of negotiations. So if there are any other topics that you guys would like to have covered or addressed, we're happy to do it, because I think it's important for the role of the realtor to be understood, the role of the lender to be understood. and why it's not good to cross those two over. Yeah. We all have our areas of expertise.
And I've learned that
our
because of working here, I've had to ask questions, and Iris will be very, I cannot answer that.
Yeah.
But why? You know, I'm always like, but why? And then I'll go to Jason,
Yeah.
who is our CFO, who is oh my God, he's just amazing at things.
It's important to stay in our
And he
lane.
says the same
Yeah.
thing to us. And
He doesn't sell real estate, so he doesn't deal with negotiations, he doesn't deal with inspections, he doesn't deal with appraisal rebuttals on the front end. Whereas I don't process 40 to 50 transactions a month.
Yeah.
I mean, not as a lender. I'm not underwriting multi-million dollars worth of loans every month. So his area of expertise as a VA lender is extremely important because experience is what you're getting when you talk to him. He's been doing this for a number of years and is always well versed on what's happening.
We will also be talking with Natasha Hart.
We will.
Yeah.
So Natasha
She's
Hart,
on vacation too right now. She comes back.
She's with Fairway Credit. So you can see we're fine with crossing over with other organizations.
Who we
As long as we know the information, we're comfortable with the information we're receiving and that they're giving.
And Fairway
I
is
know
also good too.
Fairways. I have closed transactions with Fairway Credit, 0 complaints. I mean, they've been phenomenal. They've treated my customers very well. E-mortgage management obviously is one of our preferred lenders. Fairway Credit is another one in certain areas of the US.
In DC.
Yeah, in the
the whole Maryland and
Maryland
DC area.
Yeah, and that's because our beautiful Natasha.
Yeah, we totally
She's
trust her.
Yeah.
And their company that she works for, which is under her boss, Cassandra.
It
And
is.
then you're going to get hopefully actually meet her when we are in DC.
Yeah.
But
So
you would trust people. So.
I do, because I applied the same level of care when I select my realtor partners as I do with my lender partners, because I and my buyers are going to be working closely together, usually for at least 2 months.
You're like a family for a while.
You are, and I want them to always feel they can come back to me if they need me. So making sure that the partners I have deliver the same level of service on all parts is extremely important.
Yeah. So you'll see Natasha and you'll also see Jason sometimes doing some lines. We're going to try to tag time these because there is a lot of information.
And a lot of misinformation
And a lot
going
of
out, and a lot of incomplete information going out. So we want to make sure that
We're all on the same page.
we're all on the same page and that there's a balance given.
So on that note, we're going to close for our Friday. And remember that Military Home Base brings you home
one base at a time.
one base at a time.
Don't forget to send us your questions.
Yes, send questions. I like questions.